All right, sorry, I wasted a bit time, and I will need to just proceed from here. I will be starting. So today I said we're going to talk about uh, two primitive loops command we have in Python. The first loop is while, the second is for. The while loop, just like I explained in our WhatsApp group, with while loop you can actually execute any statement as long as it is true. The statement, the condition you give is true. So as long as it is true, the while loop can execute a set of statements as long as it is true. So if the statement is true, it means it will be executed. So for example, if I say that a is equal to if I say that a is equal to 1, and then for me using while loop, I can just say a is equals to 1, and then if a is greater than is less than 6, yeah, go ahead.
Are you supposed to be sharing your screen? Because I can't see your screen.
Sorry about that. I think missed that. Alright, I think I'll be sharing my entire screen. Alright, this is where I was. So like I said, while loop can execute a set of statements as long as it is true. The statement is true. So like I say, a is equal to 1, and then while a is greater than is less than 6, print a. Then a is equal to 1 plus 1. So as long as this statement is true, it is going to be possible. Remember, anytime you say here a is less than 6, meaning that you are going to have just from between 1 to 5, because you are talking about less than 6, is not equal to or less than 6. This is a different distance. So because this is not going to work because of this invalid syntax. So anytime you say that while a is equal to less than 6, print a. Remember, it is less than 6. Less than, I mean, is that whatever is going to work is not going to add 6, because 6 is not less than 6. Now keep on printing, print a. So now here is that a plus 1 means that whatever you get as this in 1, then if you run this, it's going to be 1, 3, and 5. That means it's going to be 1 plus 2 plus 3. Now if I change this to 3, it is simply going to be 1, which is the first one you declare here. 1 plus 2, 3 is 4. And since it is less than 5, it's not going to print any other thing again, because if you add 3 to 1 you added here, 1 to 4, if you add after reaching 4, if you add 3, it is more than 6. Yeah, go ahead.
I still can't see your screen.
Oh, you still
I
can see
don't
my
know.
screen? Alright, I have stopped sharing my screen, and I'm sharing again. I'm sharing the entire screen. Can you see my screen now? Maybe sure. I think you should be seeing my screen now. Right?
I am seeing
Okay. Can you see my screen Sterling?
your screen, sir.
Okay. What about you, Sterling? Can you see it?
No, I don't know. Maybe it's from my end. I'm not seeing your screen. It's showing that you are presenting, like the heading that you are presenting, but I'm not seeing the collab or anything.
But Gabriel, can you see my screen now? Gabriel, can you see my screen? Gabriel said he can see my screen. So I think Sterling, you just need to
Yes,
leave.
I can.
Yeah, Sterling, just try and leave and join back again, because I can see my screen. Just leave and join back again. Yeah. So as you can see here, if I say a is less than 10 and then it's going to run in 3, it means that I am going to have a is equals to 1, 1 plus 3 is equal to 4, 4 plus 3 is 7, but I say it's less than this, it is going to print this. Now what if I change this that a should be greater than 10? What will happen? Because the condition is true, you're going to have this a is greater than 3, so you're just going to have this and then you're not going to have this. So if it is less than, it's going to come with whatever I put up here, that is 1 plus 3, which I use a, the value of a plus 3 is 4, and then 4 plus 3 is 7. Now if I change this thing to 3 and run the same this, you're going to have the 3 itself plus 3 is 6 plus another 3 is 9, and then remember I said it should be less than 10. Now like I said, this, remember that if the increment of 1, like remember to increase the 1, or if not, the loop will just continue running. What I mean is, if you say this, let me use this here, and I decide to run this, what you're going to have is that this loop is going to run forever. You can see, even till tomorrow, because this condition is true. What do I mean? This is already running endlessly forever. It can't stop running, so I need to find a way to kill it. Yeah, because like I said, if this oh my god, so I'm trying to say that if this statement is true, it is going to run forever, and I made a mistake in running that forever, and that's why this is going to run forever, because this statement is true, because a is equal to 3 and a, while a is less than 10, print a is going to run indiscriminate, is not going to stop. So I have to stop it here, because if you didn't stop it, it's going to run forever. So what I mean is, anytime you're running while loop, you have to define it, and the while loop is going to run as long as that statement is true. That is what I'm trying to say. As long as that statement is true, it is going to be running. So you just need to know that as long as this statement is true, it keep on running. So make sure you notice all these things. Like you see the word what I put here, if I didn't put this, it is not going to stop running. So this is just what you need to know. And while loop require relevant variable to be ready. For example, like I said, if you don't set which where it needs to be, you won't run. Like if I change this thing, you have to set what this needs to start. Like I say, if a is equal to 1, it have to be ordered. So you need also to make this increase the way it is. Now another way you can exit while loop is, for example, I want to copy this same code, and then I go to the next part and paste it, and in this way, and I say to print a, and now you decide to use if statement here. So I'm now putting a condition, if a is equal to, okay, let's say 5, then break, then increase it by a. Now in this case, it simply means that I'm saying that a is equal to 1, while a is less than 5, print a. But if a is equal to 5, break it. That means I said no matter the condition I put here, once a gets to 5, stop. And you can see it here. If I say once a gets to 7, it means you are going to print 1 until 7, and once you get to 7, stop. So what do you do this? You stop the loop by using a condition statement, break. Now by using the break, you are simply telling it, run for me when it is on from less than a is equals to 1, while a is less than 10, print a. But when you get to 7, break. Now this is the increment. Remember the increment here. If I change this increment to 4, you are going to have the same this. You are going to have only this, this, and this. So when it is less than this, break. Remember this increment here. So I will removing it and put it in 1, and once you get to 7, break. Now once it gets to 9, let's say 9, and run the same code, and then once it gets to 9, break. So this is when you're putting up a condition on it to either stop other break or whatever. So this is what the condition you're going to make. Now this is using break statement. Then when you want to use a continue, you use continue statement to stop the current iteration and then continue in the next. What I mean is, you use continue. All of us know the meaning of continue. So you use continue. Like I said, I've showed you how you can actually query for a particular thing at any point in time to know what it means. So you use continue now to break like you use continue statement to stop the current iteration and then continue with the next. Then in this case, what you are going to have here is not as it is, but we are going to say here and backward, and you're going to print what you have here. So I'm going to print the value of a here. So in this case, I'm going to use while, and this is going to continue forever. So the same thing that happened, because the statement is true, so we need to stop it. Remember this, because you can run a particular distance that can never finish, like that will never stop running. So you need to note all this. So in this case, let me remove this here because I don't need to put this here. So what I need to do is here I need to say that a is let's say be adding 1 to it like this, and if this is probably to 2, then continue s print a. Now in this way, what it means is a is equal to 1 while a is less than 10, then add 1 to it, like whatever you get, it means that you're going to be printing 1 2 like serially. Now if a is equal to as equals to 2, meaning that you are going to tell it to start. That is why you are having this here, then continue, then print the a. So that's why you have this up here, because it's equal to 1. When you add 2 to 1, you have 3. When you, then it will continue with the 1 increment you put here. Just master this very well. Where here I am using continue, look at the difference between break and continue. Now I am telling you that when you get here 10, then whatever you get here, remember to be adding +1. That's why this is in serial. If I change this to 2, then it means it's going to give me in 3, 5, 7, and 9, 11. Now because this is an increment of 2, but I have said if a is equal to 2, meaning that it ought to start from 2 and add this 1, which I said, making it 3. So I just want you to remember this these things here, because this is where logical come in. And like I said, while statement run as long as that is true. So another place, what we also need to talk about a bit is when we are talking about s, wanted to include s to it. In that way, you are going to let me start from here and modify the code. And then starting from here, I'm going to use I is equal to let me add 1 to it, and then in this case I'm going to use s statement. So I am going to say s. If that is not true, you can now pass up whatever you want it to print. Let's say we can say print it is no longer than 10, for example. And if you run this code, it will tell you, oh, there is an issue. What is the issue? I have a is equal to 1, and then while a is less than 6, 5, 5, 10, 10, 6, 1. Okay, while a is equal to less than 10, then print a. Then make the increment of a be at the same this, so a is not defined. So you have here that it is going to tell you that I is no longer in 10. So this is the issue that I have with allowing AI to finish up with you. So you can see here s print this. So what I'm just trying to let you understand is just the variable things you just need to note when you're using while loop. Now I use break, I use else, and I use continue, and I use normal while loop. So note this and know where this can be applied. Just like I said, if you don't define what this thing will be, if you just leave it alone, it is going to run endlessly. So you need to notice that. Now, when you are talking about for loop in Python, when you're talking about for loop in Python, so we are going to be looking at use it to iterate over a sequence. That is, either it is tuple, it is dictionary, set, or strings. So for this, you use a keyword for with to execute the statement for each of them. What do I mean? Like you use for, we have talked about this before. For example, we want to say that those in here, and then I want to put it in list the way we used to put it. So let me put it in list, and I put this one as Pablo. Then I go down again and put this one as okay, let me press tab, which will give us this. So for us now to get all everything that is here, what do we use? We use for statement, and this is going to loop in between each of them. So remember this, and also compare the difference between for loop and this. So you need to understand this very well. Now you can also use for loop in aspect like, let's say if you want to say for x in nulu, print x, like we say, you can see here that it is going to print nulu one by one the way it is. Remember that how you can iterate for each of them. Now what if we want to use for statement, that is we want to use break statement? How do we use break statement? So I'm going to start again with the beginners, and let me say beginners is equal to Pablo the way it is by pressing this tab. So I want to say for beginners, x in beginners, then for x in beginners. So let's now go in here and let's cut this up here and then print the x in it. But if this beginners is equal to, like if this is the value as stays in, maybe is equal to nulu, or call anybody's name in there, so let's then break. So in this way I am going to like make it up like this and cut this off. So what I mean here is that here I want to print this. I want to check if this statement is like using a break statement. So if I run this code, that is I'm trying to iterate between here for x in, that is each of these element inside here in the beginners, print x. But if x is equal to null, then break. Now what is it going to do different from every other one? So it's just going to say when it counts to reaching to where you see null, break. So if I want it to stop at where I have sterling, I can type in sterling here, and it is going to iterate between, it's going to go in between Pablo, Nulu, Collins, and stop at sterling. I want to break it there. So this is how I can do it and stop at sterling. So this is the way you can use break statement for to access an item inside a list, tuple, dictionary, or set, just like we have treated last time. So if you want to access something inside, no, we were talking about it, but we have not been using break. So if that statement is true, then break there. So this is a way you can use this over this. So you just need to note this. And then now what if we want to say we want to exit that loop at any time, but we want it to break, want the break to come first? In that way, let me copy this code and modify it. So what am I going to do? I'm going to copy this and paste it. So for here, I will start the iteration by removing this from here, just like we did in for loop. Take critical. If you have any question here, you ask me, let us discuss it, because this is another most important aspect of your programming. Yes, because this is what you are going to be using when you are talking about condition statement. Conditions, when these conditions are met, do this. Like all the interface you're creating, all the things aspect of your programming have to have a condition which you're going to use for or while to start working on. So you'll be doing more of this. So you need to look at this critically. But the best way to know this is by practicing. it is not by looking at it and sleep. So if you keep on working on it, trying to know, run this code and know what is the difference between what I did earlier and what is happening here, just like what I'm trying to do now. So I'm trying to show you how you can actually get break and print it after breaking, which is what I'm going to do now. So if I run this code, you're going to see that there is a difference between here we have Nulu and it breaks at Collins. Then here the same thing, we have this. If I change this to Collins, you will be asking yourself what is the difference between this and this. You can see the little bit difference. Here I have break, then here I have print after break. So you need to understand these different things. Now I'm proceeding to if statement, continue statement. How do you use continue? So let me also paste this code again. Let me just copy this and make the modification on it. So I am going to paste this and I'm going to say for x in beginners, if x is equal to, let me use telling us the same thing, then instead of here I will say continue. So what am I trying to do? So when I say continue and I run this code, this code is going to execute as long as it sees telling inside here. Now what if it sees Kingsley, that is King is not, that is not inside here? What is it going to do? It's going to see here Pablo, Nulu, Collins, Sterling, Blake, and Drew. It still remains because it still continue because it have to see this of this. So back a bit, as long as there is if x, which it sees here inside here, because each of this is going to iterate in each of the element, and if x is sees Sterling, continue and then print the result for this particular statement. Now this is a way you can use for and if and continue in a statement. Now the next one I will talk about before I stop a bit is when you're talking about range. Now when you have a range like this, now range is a like what is between a number. Let me keep this over this. You will see that a range is a range of an object, meaning the starting point, the end point, or where you are going to step it. The range between 0 to 5, you already know what is the range. So this is the way you can use for statement for loop to show the range between 0 4 as in between the range of 6, so which is going to be 0 to 5. And if you change this thing to 60 to, let me put 16 or 10 for example, you're going to have the range which is going to be between 0 and to 9, because the range between these two to 10 is equals to 0 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9. So this is a way you are going to have the range. The range between 6 is not the value from 0 to 6, but the value from 0 to 5. So that is what we call range. So in Python, when you're talking about range, you're meaning that you're going to get the number between 0 to that number, excluding that particular number. So this is the way you can get into range. Now how do you get a range between two steps? For example, you want to step between x in range of, let's say, 2 and 10. How do you get the 2 and 10? So what it means is that you're going to have between 2 to 10. Now what is 2 to 10? The starting number and the ending number, which is going to be starting, you are putting it from 2. If I want it to start from 5, I'll put it from 5 to 9. So I need a range between 5 to 9, which is 5 6 7 8 9. Now this is a way you can look in between the ranges of two numbers. So in this it means you are looking for the value, that particular value, excluding the one behind it. Now how do you make an increment of a range? Making an increment of a range is like passing 3 words into it, meaning that between 5 to 10, if you put the third number to it, it means that you are trying to tell it that I want you to be making increment between these two numbers. What do I mean? You have 5 to 10, that means after 5 add 2, after 7 add another 2. So assuming I want to get 15 here, what am I going to have here? It means that 5 plus 2 plus 7 plus 2 9 9 plus 2. This is what you're going to have if you pass two numbers to. So you're going to get it in that increment. Then what if I put here 5, it means I'm going to have 5 plus 5 is equal to 10, and then 10 plus 5 again is 15, which is bigger than this number. So you just need to note this. Like I said, the only best way you can get this done is when you are practicing. Now I want to pass 4 statement inside it. Let's say for x, if I want to pass 4 statement in it for x in a particular range of number, so let me use this. I'm not going to accept this because I just want to use a statement in here. So this number, then s, if it is not true, remember we have used a statement, and then you can finally say something. You can say this is no longer within range. So I'm going to press this, and you can see it goes in here and it tells you that this is no longer within range. So this is the way you can use a statement, but that doesn't block anything. So the next thing I'm going to talk about before I stop on this is what we call next statement. That is next, meaning that what I mean by next is that I tell you the statement is I give you my key and I ask you go and open my door. When you open my door, that first condition has been met. But when I say after opening my door, open my window, that means I have nested another thing inside that particular one, like putting something inside something. So that is what I mean by nest. Nest is a loop inside loop. So the inner loop will be executed one time each after iterating the outside. We have done this when we're doing global variable, and we explain this a bit. So in this case, let me say I have beginners here. Let me say the beginners is equals to this set of people, and I want to nest another thing. So let me say advance, let me say is equal to let me use another people here, and then I say for let's say for a in beginners, then y in advance, then print x and y. So I am trying to nest this inside this. What am I trying to say? I am nesting each of this inside here. Remember what we talked about? I'm having Pablo Justin, and I'm having Pablo Chura, Pablo Natalie, Pablo Smith. Then it will go to the next one, Nulu Justin, Nulu. So this is a way I can nest like inside it. So this is a way you can make nest inside. I think this is well understood. Remember why it goes in 2 ways. Like I said, the Python is an iterator. You have to go one, merge this, Pablo, go again, Pablo, go again, Pablo, until it finish. It will return again to Nulu here, Nulu this, Nulu this, Nulu this. Then you go to Collins again, Collins this, because I've nested it inside here. I've nested it. This is the first thing you did. Then the next thing you have to do is to do this again for me. So what if you say here and you say enter, for example, you now pass another one inside here. Let's say you pass another keyword inside here, and let me say I use Hensley here. And then remember here you have said for this inside this. What if you still say here for z in, like here, enter here, I want to accept this, and you say print this. What will happen? What did I do now? You see now I nested 3 things in here. You can see this now. You see now that I have actually done this. First thing is here. I tell you, when you open my door, open my window. After open my window, open my fridge. So it have to do the same thing. It have to nest it this way. Take a critical understanding about what I am doing now, and that is actually going to help. So if you want to nest another thing again, you can still nest another thing inside here. But if you see the result, you can understand what I'm trying to say. This is the way it works. A perfect example of this is that this is your first name, your names of the people in your family. This is the second name of the people in your family. So you can nest this in the way you want. You see this gives you first name, middle name, and within your surname. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I noticed that for this nested loop, you used beginners, advanced, and that inter, which I believe should be intermediate. Is it
Yes.
compulsory for us to use those names, that
No.
beginner, advanced, and intermediate? And
No,
then
no, no, no,
you
no,
also
no.
said that if you wanted to add another nested loop, yes.
Okay.
So I want to know what will be the next in
Okay.
the
Okay. Let me add
list.
another loop. Who asked the question? Blake, right?
It's Gabriel, sir.
Okay, Gabriel. So
No, Gabriel.
okay, I'm going to use Gabriel, and I'm going to put Gabriel is equals to Gabriel. If I want to nest another thing inside it, I will say for A in Gabriel, and then I'm going to pass another this thing inside it here, and I'm going to run it. So I'm going to have, this is blocking for if statement. Yeah, there is a problem in here for beginners advanced. So this is indentation error. Yeah, so indentation error is the problem. So you can nest, you can see the way it is, you can nest as many things as you want to nest here. Did you get that? It doesn't mean this is variable. I think I think Collins is mentoring you, right? Gabriel.
Sir.
Yeah, you're with Collins, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Sterling, please, when you are done, give him the video of variable to watch, please. That will help him clear this. Please, Sterling, do that for us, please. This is not a particular name. You can name it anything, just like the way I name it Gabriel here. And I pass Gabriel into it. You see, it goes here. I nested it inside here. It goes here and pick up Pablo first, pick up this second, pick up this third, pick up this fourth. The next thing is going to pick is Pablo. Is going to pick another thing is to go to the second one and pick the second one, and it return back to Kingsley and return back to Gabriel. So these names are, this is just a variable that I declared. So it is going to come in this order, and you can see the result here. So I think when Sterling give you that video and you watch it, you'll be able to understand what I'm talking about here very well. Yes. And one more last thing before we end the bit here is that you remember this. Like I said last time, you use pass statements instead of you throwing an error. You just need to pass it. So this is where I am going to stop a bit. I don't know, do you understand me? Do you have any question? Quickly ask so that we can quickly switch to another thing. Do you have any question on
Yeah,
if,
yes, sir.
while? Yeah, go ahead. Any other question?
No, sir. I don't have any question. I'm clear, sir.
Okay, all right. So I think a bit I am going to like stop